Here we're going to move our camera, which is also our player, by using input keys. You don't need to do anything here. We've already set the Z order. Let's go up to the events. And let's add a new event. We can nest this under the first person movement group here. There's a personal preference whether people like to use WSAD or the arrow keys, so we can alleviate that by adding both. So we give the best of both worlds. Let's go ahead and add a key pressed event, and for this, we're going to use the up and the W. So for this one, we can copy this and then paste it down here and just change this to up. So let's add an action. Now, if that key is pressed for the camera, we want to add a force to the angle. And the force that we want to add is on the camera.angle. And we want to do something like 80 pixels per second. We can test that out. Up arrow works, W works. The movement's not too fast. I found that in these first-person movement games, you tend to feel a little nauseous if your player is moving too fast. Let's go ahead and copy this and change this to S and down. And then here, what we have to do to move the player backwards is change this camera angle. And we're going to add 180 degrees to that, leaving everything else the same. So now if we press the up and the down, W and S, everything is working as it's supposed to. Let's go ahead and copy this again. This time we're going to use the A key and alternatively the left key. For this one, we're going to do a different action. So let's go ahead and delete that, add a new action. Still for the player, we're going to change the angle, subtract. Angle in degrees is going to be 90. We'll have to change this in a second to use a different formula, but I just wanted to show you what this looks like. Let's go ahead and take a quick preview on this, and then we can come back and modify it. So up arrow, left arrow, quirky. It's too fast. So we could do something like 1 for each moment that the arrow is held. That makes it okay. But if you want it to look consistent on everybody's computer, what you can do is instead of 1 here, we can do time delta. And if you see here, time delta is the elapsed time since the last frame rendered on the screen. What that means is that if you want it to look the same regardless of computer hardware, then we can use this time delta and do something like times 45. See what that looks like. Up arrow, left. Looks pretty good. We haven't programmed the right key yet. So 45 may be a little slow, but we're going to leave it there for now. Copy that, paste this here, and this is going to be the D key and the right arrow. And for this, instead of subtracting, we're going to add. Let's preview that. It seems a little slow, but it does help with the motion sickness. So we can change this, make it faster. Just double it. It feels fast to me. I don't know. Let's bring this back down. 45 is a little slow. Let's try 60. We'll do 1 frame per refresh rate. All right, so let's see what that looks like. Sometimes you have to play around with this stuff. It's personal preference. That looks pretty good. Player's moving very slow. We can speed that up a little bit, but if we speed it up too much, that is going to be a recipe for motion sickness. It's a little better. That was arrow keys. W, A, D, S. Everything's working as expected with our input keys, giving the player the option of the WSAD versus the arrow keys. And we have smooth movement. The reason we didn't need to do time delta up here is because according to the gDevelop wiki, they are already including that for player movement. And this up here is considered player movement. But for changing the angle of the camera, that is where we had to do the time delta in order to base that off of the hardware's refresh rate. I hope this helps, and we'll see you next time.